Now first is anatomy of oral cavity. It extends from skin mammalian junction of lips to junction of hard and soft palate above. Below it is limited to circumvallate papillae of tongue, as you see here, okay, like this. So this is all is a oral cavity. Now what are the structures included in this oral cavity? You see lips, buccal mucosa, upper and lower alveolar ridges, the retromolar trigone, anterior 2/3 of tongue, floor of mouth and the hard palate. Again it is divided into the external compartment also, that is vestibule and inner oral cavity proper by alveolar ridges and teeth, right. Now here you can see this is a very good diagrammatic representation which is showing the cross section of the buccal mucosa. Now by pointer you can see this is the parotid duct, this is skin and subcutaneous fat outside. This is known as, this is a very important layer which is known as superficial musculoaponeurotic system. It is a very tough system which prevents from fistula formation. This is a masseter muscle. Now branches of facial nerves goes across like this. This is buccal pad of fat. This is also a very good important structure. Then buccinator muscles, and until ultimately the inner lining of the oral cavity, that is mucosa. Okay. Here also you can see that this is very important in cases of malignancy, that is carcinoma, where carcinoma goes, which level, which lymph nodes. So this is a diagrammatic depiction. You can see we can divide into anterior compartment, that is this is level 1. So here is level 1, submandibular and submental nodes. Then lateral compartment includes second, third, fourth and fifth, that is second, third, fourth and fifth. Okay. So second, third, fourth and fifth is, second is superior spinal accessory, superior jugular, jugulodigastric, then mid jugular, jugulo-omohyoid, internal jugular, right. And last one is in this compartment is inferior spinal accessory and transverse cervical. Then we come to the central compartment which is shown here in the yellow color. This compartment contains pretracheal and paratracheal group of lymph nodes. Now lastly we come to this mediastinum. Mediastinum contains infraclavicular and anterior mediastinal, that is thymic lymph nodes, which is known as group 7. So this is a very diagrammatic good representation for malignancy. Now if we talk about the sensations of the oral cavity, they are by second and third branches of the trigeminal nerve. Motor is as usually you know, this is by facial nerve. Lymphatics, parotid and level 2 lymph nodes of the neck, as you all know. Then we must see this slide. Here it is showing the hard palate. Okay, hard palate means the bony palate. Here this is a dental arch, right. This is premaxilla. This is incisive foramen. What is the importance we will see in the next slides in cases of malignancy. This is palatine process of maxilla, palatine bone, posterior nasal spine, palatine foramen, humulus and tensor palatini and levator palatine muscles. So this is a very good diagram, and these are the bony palates. Now in this picture we can see the retromolar trigone. What is the importance of retromolar trigone is that the malignancies here are very notorious and they spread to all over the lymph nodes. So here you can see this is a lining of the upper and lower lip. These are teeth. This is hard palate. This is uvulae. This is soft palate. And this area behind the molars is known as retromolar trigone. Okay. The anterior 2/3 of the tongue, which is a part of oral cavity, posterior 2/3 is a part of pharynx. Here you can see these are the tonsils. This is buccal mucosa, lip and cheek lining, this area, and this area below the tongue and by the side of this dental arch, this is known as floor of mouth. Okay. Now what is the importance of retromolar trigone? As we discussed, it is the mucosa is closely adherent to ascending ramus of mandible. Carcinoma in this region often invades mandible, so there is a mutilating surgeries to be done. Referred otalgia means ear pain that results from innervation by third branch of the trigeminal nerve by lesser palatine nerve and the glossopharyngeal nerve, right. So that's why it's important. And lymphatic into level 2 nodes, as we discussed in the previous diagram. Now this is also a picture which is showing about the tongue. So what is the morphology of tongue? This is the base of tongue. These are lingual tonsils. You can see these are lingual tonsils. Then circumvallate papillae, it means these are slightly big papillae, okay, on the posterior of the tongue. Then these are smaller ones are the filiform. This is the apex of tongue. This is the fungiform or lingual papillae. Median lingual sulcus. This is the median lingual sulcus over the body of the tongue. This is the sulcus terminalis. Okay, this one, this structure. And this one is the foramen cecum, which has a very important surgical importance. We will discuss later. And this is the palatine tonsil, and as you all know, superior most is the epiglottis. Now, what are the salient features? The sulcus terminalis divides the tongue into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. So, lymphatic supply is different. That's why anterior 2/3, posterior 1/3, because the malignancies of the posterior 1/3 are very dangerous. Now, anterior 2/3 is a part of oral cavity and posterior 1/3 is a part of oropharynx, as we discussed. Anterior part is derived from lateral lingual swellings of first branchial arch and got lingual nerve as sensory supply, means the sensations are come and gone from through the lingual nerve. Now, what are the muscles of tongue? Broadly, these are divided into extrinsic group and intrinsic group. Now, in this diagram, as you show here, this is a tongue. Okay, got it? This is a tongue. This is a chin. Okay, our bony part. This is a chin. Now, if you see the muscle, this is inferior longitudinal muscle. These all fibers are genioglossus, hyoglossus, and here it is attachment of the stylohyoid. This is a thyroid and this is thyroid cartilage. This is cricothyroid. Okay, if we come from this side, styloid process, superior pharyngeal constrictor, middle pharyngeal constrictor and inferior pharyngeal constrictor, and lastly the start of esophagus from here. If you see the cross section of the tongue, like here, you can see the intrinsic muscles of the tongue, longitudinal ones. These are the transverse, vertical. This is genioglossus, and below at the floor is geniohyoid, as you all know. Okay. Now, if you see theoretically, it is extrinsic, 3 pairs. Okay, so the muscles are in pairs of tongue. Okay, always remember that. Styloglossus, hyoglossus, and genioglossus. Intrinsic has 3 groups, that is vertical, longitudinal, and transverse groups. So, 3 pairs and 3 groups of muscles. Understand? Now, innervation and drainage, right? So, motor is, this is the hypoglossal nerve. Sensory, as you all know, lingual and taste by coda tympani via facial nerve, that is always, that is a dictum, and this is the third branch of fifth nerve. Also supplies EMS, external ear, external auditory canal, and this is the temporomandibular joint. Tongue malignancy has referred pain over ear, otalgia, which is known as. And artery is lingual artery. Lingual means tongue, so artery is lingual artery. Lymphatic drainage, from the tip it is goes to level 1A, which is submental lymph node. Then lateral aspect of the tongue goes to level 2, medial aspect level 3. Okay, and lateral drains only in ipsilateral, means same side of lymph nodes. Medial can drain in both ways, means same side or opposite side too. Right? Now, what is the incidence of oral malignancy? Why we are discussing this? Because India continues to report the highest prevalence of oral cancers, because here people smokes a lot, they eat pan, gutka, masala, everything, you know. So that is the reason for that. So globally it is 75,000 to 80,000 new cases of cancers every year, which is a very massive number, isn't it? So 57.5% of global head and neck cancer occurs in Asia, and that especially the major chunk in India. Head and neck cancer accounts 30% of all cancers in male and 11 to 16% of females in India. The reason is that males do reverse smoking pan masala, while females do, but in less number. That is the only reason. Nearly 2/3 of oral cancers in India occur in gingivobuccal sulcus. Hence, it is popularly known as Indian oral cancer. Remember, Indian oral cancer. Why it is in the gingivobuccal sulcus? Because whenever the people eat gutka or masala, the oral secretions, they stagnate into the gingivobuccal sulcus and they become more in contact with for more time. So that is the reason for that. Now, if you see the etiology of the tongue cancer, you see tobacco kills. Tobacco causes mouth cancer. Okay, the people eat quids or gutka or pan masala. Here you can see smoking. You know, smoking. How long you can live? You can live without smoking, isn't it? Then Here is the etiology, different kind of pan masalas and pan gutkas, jardas, etc. So this is the main etiology for Indian population for tongue cancer. Now if we talk about human papilloma viruses, that is HPVs, they have been associated with a risk for oral cavity, but these carcinomas carry a better prognosis because they respond better to therapy such as radiotherapy. Okay, but the pan gutka or masala cancers, they don't respond to radiotherapy very well. A nested case control study suggested that the risk may be with HPV 16 serotype with 50% and 14% of oropharyngeal and oral tongue carcinomas respectively, that is containing HPV 16 DNA. So this is the most common involved virus in our oral cancers. This is EBV, means Epstein-Barr virus, is a human herpes virus that has been implicated in the number of oral cavity malignancies in Indian population, especially NPCs, that is nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Okay, now these are the few pre-malignant lesions. Okay, leukoplakia, erythroplakia, palatal lesions in reverse smoker. What is reverse smoking? The people, what they do, the burning part of the cigarette they put inside and then they smoke. This is notorious for tongue cancer, so you should not do that. Okay, then submucous fibrosis, actinic keratosis, lichen plexus and discoid lupus erythematosus. Now you can see here, this is a leukoplakia, just like leukoplakia, oral submucous fibrosis. This red lesion is known as erythroplakia. These all three are pre-malignant conditions, right? Now if you see the pathology, the squamous cell carcinoma accounts for 90% for all malignant cancers. There is no adenocarcinoma, only squamous cell carcinoma in the oral cavity, because it is usually by the irritation of this pan gutka masala and reverse smoking. Other malignancies involving the oral cavity are malignant salivary gland, mucosal melanoma, lymphoma and sarcomas. Now in the earliest recognizable state, squamous cell carcinoma appears as, what is the presentation, how it looks like? Firm pearly plaques or irregular rough and verrucous areas of mucosal thickening. There is a thickening, there is a irregular margins and raised areas, right? As you see like this, these all pictures showing the squamous cell carcinomas. You see irregular margins raised, here also raised one, here also raised irregular margin, plaque formation is there, here also plaque formation is there. So these are the different pictures of squamous cell carcinoma of tongue or oral cavity. Got it? Then what is the clinical presentation? How the patient presents with us? It presents like a non-healing ulcer. Other telltale signs means otalgia, ear pain, odynophagia, pain while eating, then bleeding. Sometimes the tongue bleeds to touch, and dysphagia. Dysphagia means difficulty in swallowing. So all these things are because of the limited movement of tongue and pain. So pertaining to tongue, restriction of movement of tongue and difficulty in pronunciation too. So we ask the patient कि अगर आपकी आवाज़ में कोई चेंज आया है क्या? So difficulty in pronunciation, right? So we should do that. Now what is the pre-treatment? Before we start the treatment, how to evaluate the patient? Okay, so that is complete head and neck examination, means you look for the lymph node, any secondary or synchronous malignancies. Then why examination under anesthesia is necessary? Because examination and under anesthesia, this is a painful condition, so patient doesn't allow us to do the examination. So under anesthesia we can do the examination. Then different type of biopsies, like a wedge biopsy, means including subnormal tissue and malignancy. Then FNAC of the suspicious lymph nodes, then CT or MRI to see the lymph nodes and the resectability of the tumor, and lastly X-ray of chest to rule out the synchronous malignancy. So thank you very much for your patient hearing, and in the next class we will discuss much more second part of this lecture. Thank you very much.